What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So we of course had Sega announce that Game Gear mini micro system, like the several of them, right? And people weren't that excited after they looked into it, but there is another system coming from Sega at the end of this year that looks a lot more interesting than those Game Gear micros. We're gonna go over that today. Also, we did get some new Super Nintendo and Nintendo Online games announced for the Switch, and there's one in there that got people pretty excited. No, it doesn't look like a bad lineup overall, and those July Nintendo Direct rumors continue to heat up and gain more traction, as we may even have a date or even like the week that it could take place. And we're gonna go over all of that and more today, guys. As always, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit the red subscribe button down below as we head towards 500,000 subscribers. And we're gonna start today with Ys Origin. Now, this is a game that 2006 was on Windows, then eventually it showed up on Steam in 2012, and it went to the Vita, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One, and now it has been announced for the Switch. They basically put it everywhere at this point, and I think it fits in really well on the Switch because it was a pretty good Vita game, I would say, at the time, and it is a good way even to get started with the Ys games, as it is a full prequel to all of the others. You could technically start with this one, I guess, and get a good experience. I liked the game. I have it on Steam, and I guess I'll pick it up on the Switch as well, mostly because it's a very good portable game, I would say. The visuals, yeah, they're definitely from like 2006, but it's an Ys game, and it's a ton of fun, especially if you're into any of the Ys games that you've played before. You can jump into this one and have a good time. Definitely worth checking out if you have a Switch and you're looking for something new to play, but we're not really sure when it's coming out. Just 2020 is all we know of now, just the year. So we'll look forward to a release date, hopefully coming soon. Also, we had some new PlayStation Now games announced for the month of July. They should be available like right now. They just basically announced them and then dropped them. Now, of course, if you have PlayStation Now, you can download PlayStation 4 games. You can download any of the PS2 games and the PS1 games. It's mostly just the PS3 games that you have to stream. And there was one on here that caught my eye because we had just talked about Ubisoft giving it away during their own event coming up this weekend. You can see the graphic they put up here, and they also had a trailer. You can see we have Hello Neighbor, Street Fighter V, and then Watch Dogs 2. Wow. Okay, yeah, Ubisoft is certainly pushing Watch Dogs quite a bit right now just to get people trying it out and playing it, of course, because they have their new Watch Dogs Legion that I guess is going to be shown quite heavily coming up this weekend. There were even some screenshots that leaked out online, definitely early, and a lot of their stuff has been getting out there pretty recently with the full Assassin's Creed gameplay and Watch Dogs, so they're definitely trying to push towards that. And you know what? Watch Dogs 2 just being on PlayStation Now, it's really not a bad game just to download and see what you think at this point. And hey, Street Fighter V, there you go. You can jump into that one as well. But not a bad few updates here for the PlayStation Now service. Oh, and check this out. We had talked recently about Kingdoms of Amalur, how THQ Nordic is bringing that back with a remaster. And they put out a trailer, and you can see some of that here. It looks like it's getting delayed. It's going to be delayed by a few weeks to September 8th. It was supposed to originally come out in August, but they're also doing a DLC for it in 2021. It's called Fatesworn. Now, the Kingdoms of Amalur, the one that's coming out, the remaster, is going to have all the DLC that was previously released. This Fatesworn DLC appears to be new and even makes mention of events happening, I guess, after the game ends, which, by the way, is awesome that THQ Nordic is doing that, because I was very curious if after THQ Nordic picked them up, this game specifically, if they would continue to build on top of it and maybe even try to do a sequel. It's very possible that this DLC could be maybe working to lead into a sequel, and they're just going to see how this sells now. But I mean, I like the idea of Kingdoms of Amalur continuing on, and we'll see what this DLC has in store for us next year. But just know you gotta wait a few more weeks into September for the remaster. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're gonna start right away with the Nintendo and Super Nintendo online service for the Nintendo Switch. Of course, every few months it seems now, it used to be every month. Every few months, some games just get added to the online service that you can just try out. They'll just be added to that online app. You just jump on and you can start playing them. And they've been kind of touch and go with some of their additions. Sometimes they're pretty good, kind of compelling. Other times they just fall flat on their face and people are just like, why? Why did you pick this game? There is still one game in here that was definitely like out of nowhere, and okay, sure, maybe it was just easy for them to drop on there. Anyway, let's go over here because they tweeted out all the details right here, where you can see it says 3 more titles will be added to the Nintendo and Super Nintendo Online Collection. That will be July 15th, and that does include Donkey Kong Country. So for the Super Nintendo Online, Donkey Kong Country will be one of them, and then the Championship Wrestling. That is interesting. I remember playing a little bit of that at a friend's house, and I'm very curious to go back and try out Championship Wrestling again here. And then we have the Nintendo Switch Online for NES, and that would be the Immortal. I've never played the Immortal. Maybe I'll check it out. They showed some video of it. Doesn't look like it's aged the best, but I'm sure there are some people out there who has some nostalgia for it at this point and would go back and play it for 5 or 10 minutes and then kind of move on. Championship Wrestling could be fun, and of course, it might even have some online to it, maybe. That'd be cool. The big focus here for a lot of people is that Donkey Kong Country has finally been added. That is one that people have been asking, where is Donkey Kong Country? Where is it? It was on the Super Nintendo Classic. There shouldn't be any real licensing issues, you would think, because people were wondering, oh, but Rare made it. It's still Nintendo's game. Like, it's still their property, still their game, and they could add it. And obviously, they've been spacing out these releases as they've gone along, so they don't just run out of games, I guess. Donkey Kong Country is a big-time addition for the online service. I think people are going to get really excited for it. And, of course, it started trending on Twitter, like, immediately after they added it. And what was really funny is, even below the announcement tweet, they just shared a bunch of like little cheats and hidden Easter eggs and stuff that you can do in the game to get a bunch of lives, for example. It was odd, but I mean, sure, why not? I mean, it's an older game, and these are things that are just built into it that you would have found out about either online on forums back then or in the strategy guides that you could have bought anyway. Like, these are just little hints and tricks and stuff you can do in the game, like using Diddy in the beginning of a level and just kind of bouncing off of an enemy's head over and over again and just racking up the extra lives. It was stuff that we would pass around on the playground and talk to each other about. So that was a fun little video by Nintendo. I would like to see them do more of those, actually, as they add games to the online service. Now, the interesting thing here is Japan will get different games at times, and I think a lot of that has to do with the games already being in Japanese, and Nintendo's not going to just translate and move the game over to English, even for like North America. That might even be up to the third-party company for it, but Japan did get Shin Megami Tensei, and I saw that, and I was like, wow, that is... It's interesting that they got that one. I mean, hey, like I said, they're not going to localize it and move it over to places like North America, although that would be kind of a cool idea if Nintendo ever took a shot at it, just because that would add something brand new for the North American audience to maybe sign up for the online service if the game was good enough. But from what I'm seeing here, July 15th, that is not a bad addition to the online app for Super Nintendo and Nintendo. But I mean, obviously, Donkey Kong Country kind of brings it all together. If that wasn't there and it was some like random Super Nintendo game to go along with these, it wouldn't be nearly as good. But hey, in just a week or so, you can sit down and play Donkey Kong Country on your Nintendo Switch, and that's pretty cool. Next up, let's talk about Sega and their new system that they announced. Now, a site going by Game Watch had the coverage initially, and then for some reason their page got pulled down that was being linked everywhere. I'm not sure what happened there, but we had several other places like Ars Technica cover it, and we have a lot of things to go over here, specifically the games that are on there, because as you can see here, the images, it looks like that SNK mini system where it's like a little mini arcade system, and that's because this is to kind of model or be just a smaller scale replica of the arcades that you would have at Sega's different locations, and it is called the Astro City Mini. This is a really neat idea, by the way, for Sega to do this, because it sounds like that SNK mini system, but better. Like the stick, for example, is an 8-way stick, so it doesn't feel as kind of smooth and all over the place as the SNK Mini does. This appears to be almost $120 if you convert it over to United States dollars. It's 12,800 yen. and it looks like it's going to be a fair size. People are estimating now that it could be nearly a 5-inch LCD, and it will have 36 games built in. We know of 10 of them, and you can see the list here. We have Alien Storm, for example, Alien Syndrome, Altered Beast, that's a good one to have there, Columns 2, Dark Edge, Fantasy Zone, Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Adder, Tant R, and Virtua Fighter. This is pretty cool. I like this. I like what I'm seeing here. The only problem right now, it's only slated to come out in Japan this year. Yeah, so much like that Game Gear Mini, there's no word of it actually coming over to like the US or anything yet. I'd like to think it could happen, and worst case scenario, we can probably grab these off of Amazon Japan because I want one of these. I love the way it looks. That marquee at the top lights up. It's going to have HDMI out as well and separate controllers that you can buy, and it just plugs in through micro USB. This looks like a better version, like I said, of the SNK Mini with probably better games. We only know of 10 of them, so there's still another 26, but just to have it kind of modeled after their arcades and all of that, this is fun. I like this. This is much better than that Game Gear Mini that we saw before. Here's hoping, though, that it actually leaves Japan eventually and comes out here to the United States. I would like to pick one of those up locally. Otherwise, though, I guess I'll pay for the shipping and get it all brought over and imported because this is a piece I would like to have. Next up, let's talk about these July Direct rumors that continue to get traction. They're really picking up right now, and you are going to see these, I think, start to spread today online, and we'll just go over where this is all coming from. It is coming from Kelios, who we had talked about before, who had responded to Jeff Grubb during his Summer Games Mess that he was trying to put together a nice list, and Kelios, of course, said, "You forgot the July Direct." That, of course, got a lot of people talking. Well, now Kelios has come back and is elaborating a bit further, even going as far as to say that July 20th is when this Direct is going to happen. Now, my only issue with that is that July 20th is a Monday. That's not typically when Directs happen. They usually, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday. The problem with Monday, of course, is you would announce it on Friday, give the entire weekend, and then it would happen on the 20th. That's a little strange, I think, for Nintendo to do. What I could see happening, and this is something that might not go along with some of the raised expectations currently, is it could be a trailer drop for a game, or it could just be a mini Direct, right? That has like 3 or 4 Nintendo games thrown in there and maybe a third-party game or two, and you end up with like a 15-minute pre-recorded, put-together stream, right? That's how it could work, and I kind of expect that right now. People are already starting to put together this big general Direct list, so I'm a little concerned that the expectations are going to get a little out of control with this one. But I will tell you, yes, it seems that Nintendo is planning something for the second half of July right now, and it's mostly going to be to set up, I would say, the rest of this year for the most part. It's been a strange year for all of these game companies, right? It really has, obviously, with COVID-19 wreaking havoc all over the place, made things very difficult with remote work, but Nintendo still has some games they need to announce soon, because they want to give at least 60 days generally for pre-orders and get that all done. So expect things like Pikmin, for example, to be in this Direct Mini, or Mario 3D World. They'll probably put Deluxe on the end and maybe a little U or something. But yes, Kelios is saying the 20th. We'll see. Could be the week of the 20th, which is kind of what I'm going with here. So I guess expect something from Nintendo in the coming weeks. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Halo 3 coming to PC. We've been waiting for it since Halo 1, of course, and Halo Reach, and they had talked about this for a while. The one that I kept saying was, Halo 3, when are we going to get there? And then when they said that they're going to try to get all of them out this year, I got very excited, and now we know the release date for Halo 3 on PC. It's coming next week. You can see the tweet here. It says, finish the fight. Halo 3 arrives on PC as part of Halo, the Master Chief Collection on July 14th, and I am very excited because I've been waiting for Halo 3 to hit the PC for what feels like forever now. We had Halo 2 on Windows Vista back in the day with Windows Live, and that was terrible, of course. And since then, I've been wondering what would Halo 3 be like on PC, and finally next week, I will find out. We got to the point where fans were trying to build out their own version of Halo 3 when, of course, Halo Online was released in Russia, and people were trying to figure out how to make it run here and all that. It was a whole thing. finally though, next week, July 14th, we will have an official Halo 3 release on PC, and I'm very excited to jump on there. Of course, you can plug in your controller and get the auto aim that people have been talking about with the other Halos, and to have it at a high frame rate, great resolution, all this, it's exciting stuff. So look out for that if you've been waiting for Halo 3, which is the best Halo, let's be honest here. You can check that out next week, July 14th. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Gomzy Wolf saying, I think next year is the 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda. Honestly, I could see Breath of the Wild 2 being released that year, maybe as a holiday title. So it's also very possible that Breath of the Wild 2 isn't even a holiday title as much as it comes out like in March or something, like around the time that the Switch, of course, launched for its anniversary. That is very possible. I do think that Zelda could work better as a holiday title, but let's say they do it all over again. They have Zelda kind of starting out the year, and then they have Mario finishing up the year with a follow-up to Odyssey. That would be very good as well. But what I think would be really neat is if they did have Zelda in the beginning, Breath of the Wild 2, they had Mario towards the end, but because it's the 35th anniversary, just as you're saying here, right, it's an anniversary, what if they just did a collection much like they did on the GameCube where they had Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, and then the first two? Sure, we could get to the point where the Nintendo 64 is added to the online service, but come on, who's going to pass up a cartridge that has Ocarina of Time, and then, of course, you have Majora's Mask, Zelda 1, 2, and then who knows, maybe they throw something else on there like Wind Waker? That would be worth it. Absolutely. Even if a lot of those games get added to the online service, I would still buy a cartridge just so I have it. So even if that online service goes away, and I mean, come on, the box art would probably look amazing. They'd probably do some really cool stuff in there, maybe even a collector's edition. Yeah, I'd be on board with that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today. Whether it's this new system from Sega, I think it looks great, right? The little mini arcade system. I gotta see what the other games are, because we're still gonna wait for another 26 to be unveiled. I mean, 36 games with this guy, that's pretty cool, right? And then what do you think about the July Direct rumors? Give me a day that you think the Direct could happen, whether it's a mini Direct or a full-on general Direct or even just a trailer drop for something like Pikmin. Let me know your best guess for that one. And then the Super Nintendo and Nintendo Online games include Donkey Kong. What's the next big one you would like to see added on? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.